So, the aftermath of the full moon. So how is everyone feeling? I'd like to actually just sit with everybody for a moment today, this morning, and just really go in and see how we are feeling and what perhaps this full moon energy has brought up for a lot of people. And just to see where we're up to, we'll visit the sort of chakras and see how that energy centre is feeling, and maybe take it a little deeper and see perhaps what insight, when we go in, that we can access for ourselves so that we can move forward. And if there's any fear or insecurities that are lingering within our own energy, how we can let go of those. So using the energy so that it helps us and aids us practically in our external world. And that's why we do the inner work, so that we can then be functional in our outer world. And if we're just mindlessly doing our work outside, but it's actually affecting us on the inside, and we're not aware of it, this is where the disease and the illness comes, and when the emotional overloads happen. So it is important that we take the time to access what's happening on the inside, how environments, other people, globally we've got a lot of unrest happening, not only from the virus but from the riots that are happening as well. And so I know when I'm scrolling through my Facebook feed, it feels very sad and heavy, and I can feel this global, this big consciousness energy that is affecting everybody at the moment. And there is injustice in the world, but if we sort ourselves out, if we come into a strong place, and our whole energy system, our holistic, our whole body is energetically working at optimum, then we can deal with these challenges. We don't feel that our own energy stores are depleted because we're giving and giving, and we're not receiving anything back. But it's not that we take it from other people. We need to do our own energy work ourselves. This is our job. It's our maintenance. And obviously the yoga and the breathing is really helpful for that. But the being aware of it, being mindful of how these things affect us is really important too. So let's just go. You can sit, stand, or no, you don't have to stand. You can sit or lie, so that you're in a comfortable place, but without. It is okay if we drift away, because anything that is guided or aided is going to still benefit you, because if we're listening to it, the subconscious will take it on board. But if we want to be aware, we do benefit more from a seated position. Now, if you're not comfortable sitting on the floor, you can sit obviously in a Western chair, in a regular chair, and that's also fine too. So just take a moment to come down into yourself. So using the breath, find the breath on the tip of the nose and feel that energy coming down, and just notice the quality of that energy. How does this feel? And just take a moment with this breath, inhaling down, and exhaling back out. And how full does that feel? Do you feel the expansion in your belly? Do you feel the expansion in your chest? Or does it feel just a little tight up the top? And so just see if you can let that inhale open up a little bit more. And then the exhale, everything contracts and the air is pushed back out. Now we can use this breathing to bring in fresh new energy, and to expel anything that no longer serves, anything that feels heavy and dense. And most of us are aware of these sort of swirly tummy feelings, these energies that heavy-hearted feelings, sore throats, when we feel like it's constricted in our throat, that we can't get our words out, that we don't feel free to speak. And so we want to notice these feelings, these intuitive feelings that we get in our body, and where they're coming from is our own mind, which is dictating and influencing us into how we're perceiving a situation. And that's when we come back to the heart center, when we come back into the heart, into authenticity, and we strip away the conditioning, or we strip away the victim, the burdening, the conditioning that we hold into us as a society, that we perhaps have been taught or we've manifested ourselves in our own perception. So using that breath, just a few rounds to center the mind and focus and to really bring yourself present with your breath. Breath is spirit, spirit is breath. And so just feeling this new fresh energy coming in. And getting rid of anything that feels heavy, no longer serves you, that is either manifested from your own mind or from other people's thoughts and experiences and words. Even just reading something, you're taking on somebody else's viewpoint or opinion. And then just take this moment to then let that settle. So let the breath come back to a natural rhythm. Just allow that to smooth out. So no forcing, just let that come back. And just take that moment to then see how you feel after even a few rounds of breathing. And how does that affect you? How has that breath affected you? And generally when we come back to our breathing, when we come back to ourselves, with or without intention, we start to feel better. We're not extending our energy out, we're bringing it back inside of us. And I'll just work through the chakras for you. So the root chakra at the base of the spine, at the end of the coccyx, you can hold your hands or just take your mind's eye into that attention of that energy. And just tune in to the energy of your root. And how does your root energy feel? This also affects down your legs, into your feet. We use the colour red. Just notice, how does it feel? And this is where we have a sense of belonging, where we are in our life and we feel safe and we feel supported and nurtured through the earth or through our job, through our family, through ourself. And then I want you just to use the breath again. So taking in this fresh new energy down to the root and letting it spread and open up the root chakra, spreading down the legs. And exhaling any feelings of not belonging, any fear, any feelings of insecurity, not knowing where we're going. So we want to be able to trust where our path is taking us next, in this next chapter of the lockdown. So breathing in, I'm safe, I trust, I am protected, I am supported. And just allow this red light, red breath, or just to open up with the breath, the spirit, into the root. And exhaling anything that feels heavy and dense and just really is making you stuck, feeling stuck in your path where you want to go next, allowing you to have trust where we're going next. And then I want you to bring your attention into the low belly, the sacral center, where our emotions are. And just tune into this energy center, colour orange. Some of you may even see the colours, and if they're not vibrant, you use the breath. Try to open and balance them. Now, how are your emotions? Connected to the moon, this is your moon flow. And how do you feel in your flow of life, in the flow of your emotions? Do they back up and get stagnant so that we suddenly explode with loads of emotions? Or do we have little peaks and troughs? Are they just ripples rather than hurricanes and tsunamis of emotions? How do your emotions feel? And you can do this obviously on a day-to-day basis, but right now, how do your emotions feel? And are they governing you because we're thinking of things outside of us? So let's use the breath and bring the breath down into the sacral center. This will come into the hips as well, and a bit into your low back, around the kidney area, or this pelvic region. Breathing in orange, or just bringing in fresh energy to make the vibration of the sacral chakra more open, more fresh, and exhaling out any stuck emotions, any negative emotions, and just allowing a few breaths, fresh energy in to the sacral, negative energies out of the sacral, so we don't harbour and hold on to anything that feels heavy and redundant, even things that have happened yesterday, last week. We don't need to hold on to those. Those feelings are done. Let them go. And when we free up the emotions, we start to become more creative. The creative juices then start to flow. And they free up our ability to create better. And just taking those few breaths into the sacral, noticing now how that might feel. Does it feel lighter, more buoyant? Into the sacral center. And then we're going to move up into the solar plexus, the upper belly, where we have our ego identity, our intuitive gut reactions, and where we can become a little bit controlling if we have an excess fiery element. And so with the full moon, sometimes we can get a little bit too excessive into the solar plexus. So just notice for yourself, and at the back here, by the diaphragm chakra, this is where our rainbow is and where we have our abundance. So where we want to have abundance. So just allowing your attention to come down to the solar plexus, and how does this feel? Do the energies feel swirly? Excuse me, do they feel out of control? Do they feel like they are put out, that we have no passion and desire? That we don't follow our own desires? That we follow somebody else's? And this is really important, that we come back to our own desires, that we come back to our own actions, that we don't, especially in the climate at the moment, follow how other people are sweeping us along. So if we have enough fire in our belly, we can stand strong in our own energy and our own opinions, our own viewpoints. And then we can action on those rather than other people's. So notice how these energies feel in the belly. And then we're going to use that breath. Inhale down to the solar plexus, yellow, sunshine yellow. And exhale any feelings of angst and anger, any feelings of disconnection as well to other people, and how, we've got this right and wrong. There is no right and wrong. Feeling this energy, restoring the balance into who we are. And just allowing those few breaths, inhaling fresh new energy, fire up the belly, exhaling anything that just feels out of control. So that we empower ourselves, we bring back the power to ourselves. I'm sorry, I've got a froggy here. And then just noticing how that energy now feels. When we're fired up, I always feel a lot hotter. I can feel that energy now swirling around, coming back to my own power, to who I am, being true to myself. And then we're moving into the heart center. And this is where we need to Focus a lot of the time, if we're feeling off balance, come back to the heart center. And let's just take a moment to breathe and notice, how do we feel in the heart? The immune system also will be governed through the heart. And we use, this is the air element, so it affects the lungs. So as we breathe in that spirit, that fresh air, and this affects our whole being, our whole life force. And we use the colour green. High heart is pink. So I want you to breathe in green energy to the heart. And exhale any grief, any heavy-hearted feelings, anything that we are burdening, that we feel we are taking on the whole of the world's energies. We can't fix the whole world. We fix ourselves first. Come back to the heart where we find love, where we find acceptance, and we don't judge from the heart. So breathing in this green energy into the heart, exhaling grief, judgment, criticism, not accepting other people have different opinions and different views. Allowing people to be who they are. That's their journey. We concentrate on our own journey and where we are going with our own journey into the heart. You might even find the softness comes as the feminine. This is the divine feminine. So when we get into the divine feminine and we operate from the heart space, you might feel your whole being softened. You might find your opinions softened, your judgments softened, and even a soft smile on the face. Just notice how that might now feel. And then we move into the throat, which I've obviously got a bit of an issue with today, with this little frog going on. The throat can affect through the shoulders and the arms, and how we give and receive things in and out. Receiving into the left if you're right-handed, and actioning out onto the right side. And just notice the energy in your throat, sky blue here. And just notice how this is feeling. Do we feel burdened in the shoulders? Do we feel heavy on the shoulders? Do we feel like we're taking and holding everybody up, not our own stuff and other people's stuff? Are we burdening ourselves? And are we able to voice and speak our truth? Now, your truth is your truth. It doesn't have to be the same as somebody else's. And this again is when we come from the heart. If we can speak our truth and not have other people react towards our truth. This is the ether element, and where our dreams are also manifested from. So when we bring those dreams down and we can speak and put into action our dreams. And so just bringing the breath now into the throat, sky blue, spread it down your arms, your hands, so we can create the life we want to create. We can create the dreams that we want to create. Inhaling your truth. Exhaling maybe untruths that have been put upon you, conditions and systems that we don't believe in anymore. It doesn't make them wrong, but if it doesn't work for you, exhaling anything that does not resonate with you so that you can be heard clearly by yourself. You don't need to shout to other people your truth. When we just become our truth, it will radiate out from us. And then when we hear, when we discern what other people are telling us, if that's our truth or whether we're following another person's truth, and does it resonate with you? Breathing into the throat, sky blue, breathing out any untruths that you've been holding on to, any conditions that don't resonate with you. This has got a big one. People often get told to be quiet, not to be able to voice what they want to voice. And know that you can hear yourself. When you hear yourself, when you hear your own truth, that's all we need. We don't need to prove it out to the world. So letting go, exhaling the need to prove and the need to compete. This is kind of a big one for me. So the needing to prove and compete with others, bringing in your own truth. I love that one. And then just sit with this and notice how this feels. Does it feel lighter on your shoulders, on your neck? Even my throat's cleared now, the frog has gone. And then we're going to move into the third eye. And the centre of the forehead, between the eyebrows, our vision. And what visions do you have? Let's just take the energy into the third eye. We don't need to be clairvoyant, we don't need to be seeing the future, we don't need to be seeing other people's visions. What is your vision? Just take a moment, how does this feel? Can we see clearly? Can we see deception? Can we see beyond our own vision? Not trying to sort of perceive other people's, but can we see where we are fitting in our journey? Can we see where perhaps we're being swept along where we shouldn't be? And if we stand into truth and into our own path, and then we can see clearly where we're going. And we have that vision. And we use deep indigo blue to the third eye. And I think at the moment with the mass hysteria, the mass energy that is accumulating, it's easy to get swept along. So stand true to your own vision. Where do you see you want to go with your life? Where do you see you want to be in your life? And maybe that incorporates your work, your family. This can go big or as small as you want it to be. Where you're living, where do you see where you want to live? So exhaling any delusions, any illusions that don't hold true to you, and inhaling fresh energy into the third eye so that you can see clearly where you want to be, what you want to be, how you want to interact with yourself and others, your work and your hobbies and your life. And then just see how that energy feels. Deep indigo blue, like the night sky. Just notice. Does that feel lighter? Can you see the light behind your closed lids? And finally we move up into the crown, the top of the head. And we have the violet just underneath the scalp and the white. So this is the rainbow colours that come through the white energy. So the white on the top is going to connect you to your higher self. So let's just notice how this feels when we feel pressure on the top of the head. You know, we feel very small, we feel very contracted, very low, very dense. And so when we open up the crown chakra and we have then a connection and unity and we govern ourselves, this is our own government, this is how we action our own life, how we have this connection to where we are, knowing where we are going. And so let's breathe in this white light. Let's connect us too from our higher self all the way down. A white light and the violet just underneath. So the violet flame is going to just activate your knowing. And we just need to exhale any misunderstandings, any feelings of confusion, any feelings of not knowing, not having enough information. So bringing in your own information that's relevant for you, that's going to empower you to understand where your life is, where you're in your societal action, where you fit in that lifestyle. So misunderstandings out, confusion out, bringing in fresh new energy so that we can understand and that we can feel that we can govern our own lives, that we can provide for ourselves, and we can have our own sovereignty. And then just notice how that feels when we have crowned ourselves. And just take a moment now with all of these energies. And you might want to just lie down now if you have been seated or if you're in a comfortable chair. And just allow now a moment of silence, a moment of just sitting with these energies. You might then get some insight, you might get some questions, you might even have a question that you want to put to yourself, that you want clarity, you want answers for. Just sit for a moment, being aware of perhaps which energy centers were excessive or depleted for you today. And just let the breath, if your mind wanders off a little bit, just let the breath be your guide. Inhale and exhale, following that breath. Just keep it neutral, we don't need to force. And then just bringing it back to your breath. Feeling the breath now, tip of the nose all the way down. Feel it into your belly. Just coming back into your belly. Feel quite good at going away and floating off. Just refocus on the breath, refocus on your sit bones if you're lying down on your back. And just start to bring yourself back into your space, into your body. And you can open your eyes when you're ready. And if you have been seated, you might need to just move the body a little bit. Let's find a little bit of a hug. Rechange the cross in the legs. And we'll just take a deep inhale, arms overhead. Ooh, big stretch. And bring the hands just to sit at the heart center. And just taking that energy into the heart. Gratitude. Gratitude for these tools which can help us have insight, that can help us gain wisdom within our own journey. That can help us release and let go of things that don't serve us, that do accumulate. They start off small and they build, so we don't always notice the accumulation. So the inner journey is very important for us to be aware and notice. And the chakra system is a very simple system, so it gives you a guide. And I'd just like to thank everybody for joining me. And I hope this brings some peace, some grounding, some insight for you. And obviously you can use this at any time. Anytime you feel slightly off balance, off center, your energies feel a little bit up and down, especially with the full moon energy, we'll highlight things that we need to be aware of. And just stopping and taking time to notice, very important. Enjoy whatever your day brings to you, whether that's peace and quiet or activity and fun. Whatever it is, be in your space, be empowered to be yourself. And I thank you, and thank you, and thank you. I will see you again another time. Bye bye.